express the following in the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. So you're just simplifying it down to one complex number. So on part A, you're just going to distribute the 4, you're going to distribute the negative, and then you're going to collect like terms. So when you distribute the 4, we would get 8 plus 20i minus 3 plus 4i. You add your real numbers together, you get 5. You add your i's together, you get 24i. So that is the answer to A. Then B, you're going to FOIL those. So we're going to go ahead and distribute the 4. That is going to be 8 plus 4i. Then we're going to distribute the negative 3i. That'll be negative 6i and negative 3i squared. You're then going to collect the i's together. That's going to be negative 2i. You're also going to change the I squared into a negative 1, which makes this a positive 3. So if you add that with 8, you get 11 minus 2i for B. C, you are going to expand the square into that binomial written twice. When that is squared, you cannot distribute a square when you're adding and subtracting. You have to instead write it twice. And then you got to FOIL it. So distribute your 3. Distribute negative 2i. Then let's collect like terms first. Change the I squared into a negative 1, so that makes that negative 4. So we get, let's go ahead and distribute the I. You can do it now or later, but let's just go ahead and do it now. So I've got 9i minus 12i squared minus 4i. The negative 12i squared, I squared becomes negative 1, so that's going to become a positive 12. And then you put your i's together, you get 5i. So that's as simplified as you can go for part C. Then part D. What if we have really high exponents? So what we're trying to do is figure out how many I squareds we have. So first thing I'm going to do is change I to the 51 into an even number, the closest even number to 50, or closest even number to 51 that is less than 51. So just go one less. If it's odd, go one less. So we're going to have I to the 50 times I to the first, or just I. So I to the 50 times I to the first is the same thing as I to the 51 because you would add exponents. Then you take the even one and you divide it by 2. So that's 25. That means there are 25 I squareds. So I squared to the 25th is the same thing as I to the 50 because you multiply exponents times I to the first. So you're rewriting it, figuring out how many I squareds you have, and then however many i's get you to the actual exponent of 51. And then remember, I squared is negative 1. So we can change this into negative 1 to the 25th power times I to the positive 1. And then any negative to an odd exponent is going to stay negative, and any negative to an even exponent is going to turn positive. In this case, it's an odd exponent. 25 is an odd number, which means it's going to keep it negative 1. Negative 1 times itself 25 times is still negative 1, times I gives us negative I. We're going to do the same thing with part E. Remember, a negative exponent moves it to the denominator. First thing I'm going to do is rewrite that as I to the positive 13th on the bottom. Let's go ahead and just move it. I was going to do something else, but we're just going to go ahead and move it. So now we don't have to worry about the negative. Then on the bottom, we're going to do the same thing that we did on part D. So we're going to write that as I to the 12th, because that's the even number less than 13, times one single I to make I to the 13th. We then are going to change 12 into I squared to a certain power. To make 12, you need 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Then we substitute in a -1 for the I squared. So we have -1 to the 6th power times I. Remember, anything to an even exponent is going to cancel the negative, so we're just going to get 1. So that just becomes 1, and so we get 1 over I. Now we would stop there, but remember I is a square root, and you cannot have radicals in your denominator. So to get rid of the I, you're going to multiply by an I on top and an I on the bottom, which just cancel each other out, but before you cancel it out, what it will do is you're going to multiply the I on top, and on the bottom, I times I is I squared, and I squared is -1, and I divided by -1 is -I. So the answer is -I.